We told you last week about Today Show meteorologist and co-host Dylan Dreyer's new book, Misty the Cloud. And I recently had the honor to talk with her about the book inspiration, her advice for talking with kids, and the recent birth of her third baby boy.
I love that you have taken weather and related it, because there's so many analogies there, and your books are just amazing.
When we first thought about this imaginative cloud world up in the sky, at first it was really just imagining cloud characters because they didn't really exist in any other book or cartoon that I've ever seen before. So that was first and foremost. And then when we thought about it, it's amazing how much weather and emotion parallel each other. And that's what we wanted to do with Misty in this first book, was to introduce the fact that it's okay to feel those feelings. It's okay to have a grumpy day, but it's what you do with those emotions that makes the difference, because it does impact everyone around you. And in this case, it impacts Claire, who's the human who lives on the ground and her baseball game gets rained out. So Misty learns how to control her feelings.
We as adults, I feel like, have all these emotions going through us. And what would be your best advice to the adults, the caregivers?
Well, I think my biggest advice is to give kids credit. Have a conversation with them, not as a kid, but as a peer. So Calvin's, kicking and screaming and doesn't want to do whatever I'm having him do at the moment. And I said, Calvin, do you want a hug? And it stopped him in his tracks. And he just looked at me and he shook his head. And he gave me a hug. And then we talked. And we actually had a real conversation about what was going through his mind, what he was feeling. And I was like, wow, I just had a full-on adult conversation with a 3-year-old. And it goes a long way.
I love your cooking segments with him on a totally...
Oh, thank you.
How are you doing as just a new mom in general? Speaking of mental health, and all the moms that are watching that are going through the same thing.
You mentioned cooking with Cal, and that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If I'm home, those are my moments where I stop whatever I'm doing and I make sure I spend that time with the kids. And I make sure we all sit down together, we talk, there's no TV, there's no iPad, we just sit and enjoy each other's company.
Absolutely love her. She is just the real deal. And we want to say congratulations again to Dylan and her new baby boy, Russell. Everyone's in great health. Dylan doesn't even look like she had a baby. No. And she's working on a whole series of books under the Misty the Cloud title. And honestly, we had gone back and forth a lot. We had so much in common.
Right.
And there are so many weather analogies that relate to mental health. So it's such a great way to explain it to children. I mean, honestly, to adults, because you think of like the stormy days, right, sunny days in your life.
Makes a lot of
sense. It does
sense.
make a lot of sense.
Kids do notice, that one day might not be a great day to go outside and be, run around and be happy. Like I love that she related those two things, because they need that visual. They need that. They don't have the real world to relate. Like, oh, well. Right. When I was 2, I went through a really hard time and I got through it. Like, they don't remember that, but they remember the bad days.
What really stuck out too is that she just mentioned it's okay to let your kids know it's okay to not be okay some days, or to kind of have a day.
I love the message she gave at the end about communicating and just having time to talk with your kids with no devices on. And I had a flashback there with the book as well. When I was a kid, I hated when the baseball games got rained out.
Right.
It was the worst. It was the worst.
There you go.